There's a war happening inside your mind right now, and you're losing. Every time you feel that familiar surge of desire, every time your eyes linger where they shouldn't, every time you make a decision based on what your body wants rather than what your mind knows is right, you're surrendering another piece of your power. You're handing over control of your life to an impulse that cares nothing about your goals, your relationships, or your future. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, understood this battle intimately. As Roman emperor, he had access to anything and anyone he desired. Unlimited wealth, infinite pleasure, every temptation imaginable laid before him. Yet in his private writings, the meditations he never intended anyone to read, he reveals the truth about desire that modern men have forgotten. Lust doesn't make you more masculine. It makes you a slave. But here's what they don't tell you in those self-help books or motivation videos. The reason you feel weak, scattered, and constantly chasing the next hit of pleasure isn't because you're broken or lacking willpower. It's because you've been programmed by biology, by society, by a culture that profits from your weakness, to believe that giving in to desire is natural, even healthy. It's not. Let me ask you something, and be brutally honest with yourself. When was the last time you made a major life decision from a place of clarity and strength, rather than from the fog of sexual frustration or the high of sexual satisfaction? When was the last time you could sit in complete stillness for 10 minutes without your mind wandering to sexual imagery? When did you last feel truly in control of your own thoughts? If you're like most men, you can't remember. And that's exactly the problem. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." But in our modern world, we're constantly looking at screens, at images, at people feeding a hunger that can never be satisfied. Every glance, every indulgence, every moment you choose immediate gratification over long-term strength. You're training your brain to be weak. This is why lust makes you weak. Your brain operates on neural pathways. Think of them as highways in your mind. Every time you give in to lustful thoughts or actions, you're reinforcing the highway that leads to weakness, impulsivity, and scattered attention. You're literally rewiring your brain to choose the path of least resistance, the quick fix, the immediate pleasure over the delayed reward. But here's the insidious part. Lust doesn't just affect your sexual behavior. It seeps into every area of your life like poison. The same neural pathways that make you weak to sexual temptation make you weak to every other temptation. Can't stick to your diet? Same weakness. Can't maintain discipline in your work? Same weakness. Can't have difficult conversations because you're afraid of conflict? Same weakness. The man who can't control his desires becomes a man who can't control his life. Marcus Aurelius understood this connection 2,000 years ago. In his meditations he writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do." Notice what he's doing here. He's training his mind to choose purpose over pleasure, discipline over desire, long-term strength over short-term satisfaction. This isn't just about getting out of bed. It's about choosing who you want to be in every moment of decision. But let's go deeper into the psychology of why lust weakens you so profoundly. When you're in the grip of sexual desire, your brain floods with dopamine, the same chemical released by cocaine, gambling, and other addictive substances. This dopamine doesn't just make you feel good. It hijacks your decision-making process. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, planning, and self-control, gets suppressed. You literally become less intelligent, less capable of thinking clearly, more impulsive in your choices. Think about the last time you were consumed with sexual desire. Could you focus on important work? Could you make clear decisions about your career, your relationships, your future? Of course not. Your entire mental capacity was hijacked by a biological program designed for one purpose: reproduction. Now imagine living in this state chronically. Imagine your mind constantly pulled towards sexual thoughts, your attention constantly fragmented, your decision-making constantly compromised. This is the reality for most modern men. They're not weak because they lack character. They're weak because they've allowed their minds to be trained by forces beyond their conscious control. Marcus Aurelius saw this clearly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The emperor understood that true power doesn't come from conquering others, it comes from conquering yourself. And the first battle in that conquest is the battle over desire. Here's what most men don't realize. Every time you resist an impulse, you're not just avoiding a temporary pleasure. You're building psychological muscle. Every time you choose discipline over desire, you're strengthening the neural pathways that lead to strength, focus, and self-mastery. You're literally rewiring your brain for power instead of weakness. But resistance alone isn't enough. You need a complete reframe of what lust actually is. Society tells you that sexual desire is healthy, natural, something to be celebrated and indulged. But Marcus Aurelius saw desire for what it really is, a form of suffering. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? He wrote. The same principle applies to lust. The consequences of giving in to lustful impulses, the scattered attention, the weakened willpower, the poor decision-making, are far more damaging than the temporary discomfort of resisting them. Think about it logically. Sexual desire is your biology trying to control your behavior. It's an ancient program designed to ensure reproduction, not to make you happy, successful, or fulfilled. When you follow its commands without question, you're not being natural, you're being controlled. The strongest men throughout history understood this. They didn't suppress their sexual energy, they transmuted it. They took that raw, powerful force and redirected it toward building empires, creating art, discovering truths, and achieving greatness. Napoleon Bonaparte said, "The man who can master his energies can master his destiny." He wasn't talking about eliminating desire, he was talking about controlling and redirecting it. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." When you're consumed with lustful thoughts, you're not present. You're lost in fantasies, desires, and compulsions that pull you away from the reality of your actual life. You're trading your present power for imaginary pleasures. So how do you break free? The path begins with understanding that this battle is not fought once. It's fought every moment of every day. Marcus Aurelius didn't become the most disciplined man in the Roman Empire through a single moment of decision. He became disciplined through thousands of small choices, made consistently over time. First, you must recognize the enemy. Lust isn't just sexual thoughts or actions. It's any impulse that promises immediate pleasure in exchange for long-term strength. It's the voice in your head that says, "Just this once," or "You deserve this," or "No one will know." This voice is not you. It's the biological programming trying to control your behavior. Marcus Aurelius developed a practice he called morning reflections, moments each day where he would remind himself of his principles and prepare his mind for the challenges ahead. He would literally talk to himself, reinforcing the neural pathways of discipline and strength. You need to develop the same practice. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you engage with the outside world, spend 5 minutes reminding yourself who you choose to be. Tell yourself, "I am in control of my thoughts. I am in control of my desires. I choose strength over weakness, discipline over impulse, purpose over pleasure." This isn't just positive thinking, it's neural programming. You're training your brain to default to strength instead of weakness. But the real transformation happens in the moments of decision. When you feel that familiar surge of desire, when your mind starts to wander toward lustful thoughts, when you're tempted to make a decision based on what your body wants rather than what your mind knows is right, that's when you practice what Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of assent. You pause, you recognize the impulse without judging it, and then you choose, not based on what feels good in the moment, but based on who you want to become. The emperor wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In this case, your enemy is your own undisciplined mind. The best revenge against weakness is to become strong. The best revenge against being controlled by desire is to become the master of your own thoughts. Here's what happens when you consistently choose strength over weakness. Your mind becomes clearer. Your focus becomes laser sharp. Your confidence grows naturally because it's based on self-mastery rather than external validation. You start making decisions from a place of power rather than neediness. People notice the change in your energy, your presence, your capability. But more than that, you start to access what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel, a place of unshakable strength within yourself that no external force can touch. This isn't about becoming cold or emotionless. It's about becoming truly free. The man who masters his desires becomes truly dangerous, not to others, but to mediocrity, to weakness, to every force that would try to control him. He becomes a force of nature because he's learned to harness the most powerful force within himself. Marcus Aurelius faced the same temptations you face. He felt the same desires, the same impulses, the same biological programming trying to control his behavior. The difference is that he understood something most men never learn. Your desires are not your destiny. You have a choice in every moment. You can be the man who is controlled by his impulses, scattered in his attention, weak in his decisions, or you can be the man who has learned to transmute his sexual energy into unstoppable power. The Roman legions didn't follow Marcus Aurelius because he was the strongest or the most charismatic. They followed him because he had mastered himself. And men who master themselves naturally inspire others to do the same. This isn't about perfection. Even Marcus Aurelius struggled with desire and impulse. The difference is that he never stopped choosing strength over weakness, discipline over impulse, purpose over pleasure. In his final meditation, written as he lay dying on the battlefield, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back." He faced death the same way he faced every other challenge in his life, with complete mastery over his own mind and desires. He died as he lived, free. The question is, will you? The path to freedom starts with a single decision, made right now, in this moment. Will you continue to be controlled by forces outside your conscious will, or will you claim the power that has always been yours? The emperor who conquered the known world knew that the greatest conquest is the conquest of self. The man who can control his desires can control his destiny. The war inside your mind is real, but now you know how to win it. The choice, as always, is yours. Marcus Aurelius showed us the way. Now walk it.